So in one of my previous videos, I mentioned that one of my favorite ghost hunting shows is BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural with Ryan and Shane. And I do thoroughly enjoy that show. I'm not going to lie, I do watch it to fall asleep almost every night. Okay, very personal information here. But it's a great show. It's not only that I enjoy these two characters and the comedic chemistry that they have and bounce off each other, but it's also the skeptic approach, right? Having Shane on board and allowing a skeptic to kind of almost ridicule sometimes the findings that Ryan is presenting. However, as most of you will probably know at this point, a while back they moved away from BuzzFeed and started their own thing called The Watcher. And in this video, I want to break down a little bit, also feeding off a lot of you guys' comments under my previous videos, pointing out that you're also big fans of it, that you're not the biggest fans of The Watcher was kind of the consensus. So I want to do a video in which I break down the differences between BuzzFeed Unsolved and The Watcher and why I still prefer watching the old BuzzFeed Unsolved episodes rather than The Watcher. Now, first of all, if you dig into it, it's interesting why Ryan and Shane left BuzzFeed, and they're not the only ones because there's a whole genre of why I left BuzzFeed videos. It's remarkable. There's an article on Variety about it. I'll link it down in the description, basically talking about why so many people are talking about why they left BuzzFeed. Apparently, a lot of other employees were also complaining about working conditions at the company, so they left. And if you go to YouTube and type in why I left BuzzFeed, you can see there is almost an infinite amount of people making YouTube videos explaining why they specifically left BuzzFeed and don't want to be there anymore. So it's not just Ryan and Shane, and if we can trust this article, then apparently BuzzFeed was firing people for making their own content, for making non-BuzzFeed projects while they were hired by the company. So it's kind of messed up because obviously as a creator of that size, you want, at least to an extent, have control over your own content. Now, let's talk a little bit about BuzzFeed Unsolved and how I experienced that show. I really enjoy it because compared to all the other ghost hunting shows that are out there, it felt somewhat real and authentic and raw. You know, they were sleeping in dirty, grimy places. Like I said, they had the skeptical approach. They had somewhat genuine evidence, even though under some of my videos, I got a few comments, not many, but one or two comments of people saying, yeah, I work in this haunted house XYZ. We also had the Ghoul Boys over. And they were also, to an extent, fabricating evidence. This is just an allegation in a YouTube comment. I can't confirm whether that is true or not. I just want to put out here that it seems like when I talk about them being authentic and somewhat real, it doesn't apply to everything they do. There can always be this one moment where they also stretch what they find a little bit. But nonetheless, overall, I feel the show felt real, felt fun, felt authentic, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it to this day. However, The Watcher, which is their newer project, their own website, when they spun off and kind of started their own entertainment network, is not doing as well, right? It is quite interesting because the content on The Watcher is slightly longer. Often it is of more production value. It looks more premium. It seems that more time goes into actually producing these videos, but for some reason they are not getting the views that their BuzzFeed Unsolved videos got. Because if you go to BUN on YouTube, the BuzzFeed Unsolved network, you can see that a lot of the episodes like 6.1 million, 16 million views, 4.3 million views, 4.8 million views, so massive numbers. While over on The Watcher, their ghost hunting content is still doing extremely well, don't get me wrong, but it's not reaching those numbers, 4, 5, 6 million. It's more like 3 million, like about half of the views, which initially seems odd to me because these episodes are longer. Obviously, they've got Shane and Ryan in it, and it seems to be just more of the same content that everyone loves, but somehow it's not picking up the people in the same way and with the same level of engagement as BuzzFeed Unsolved. Now, one thing we have to mention when talking about views is obviously that BuzzFeed Unsolved has been around for much longer, so there are many more legacy views. The videos just had more time to accumulate views, so to compare a video from like 8, 9, 10 months ago on The Watcher with a 4 or 5 year old video on BuzzFeed Unsolved is kind of unfair. I get that, but still, if you go to the BuzzFeed subreddit, you find threads like this one. Has anyone ever realized the huge difference in views between Watcher and BuzzFeed Unsolved? Now, I wouldn't say the difference in views is huge, you know, it's not like that on BuzzFeed Unsolved they're making 5 million views and then on The Watcher they're making 1 million or something. It is closer than that. They're still making great numbers with their ghost hunting content, but especially if you look past the ghost hunting content and look at all the other videos, they're really not doing that well, at least for the reach that they're supposed to have, right? And especially recently, looking at their content for like the last 5, 6 months, there's almost no ghost hunting content there. There's a bit of the mystery files. It becomes pretty clear that people want to see ghost hunting content, right? Whenever they talk about, hey, you know, we're rating food, or Ryan and Shane attempt to play like a horror game, or they're breaking out of a high security prison. These videos are barely reaching 500,000 views often. And again, don't get me wrong, these are great numbers. I wish I had those numbers on my channel, but it's just not comparable, and it's pretty clear that people want the ghost hunting content. That's the content that gets the most views, that gets most engagement, and that people really love. But for some reason, they're not really producing that much of that anymore. And to an extent, I can understand it, right? Because on one hand, sleeping in horrible, dirty, grimy places at night with rats kind of walking around you is not exactly any YouTuber's dream. And then also, I think especially Shane just got tired of kind of always doing the same thing, right? And always debunking these quite obvious EVPs and things. It's like, it gets very repetitive in his mind, and even the viewers really enjoy it and they love it. It feels like for some reason internally they made the decision to not produce that much of that content anymore. But why is that? Despite the content being longer, having higher production value, people still seem to prefer, if you can trust like the Reddit threads and so on, and the common voice that you read online of people, why do people still prefer the BuzzFeed Unsolved videos over the Watcher videos? I think there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I always enjoyed that when they visited a location, they did a lot of theater around the history of it, right? They were talking about it. They were almost building a story around it. I don't know, they're hunting for the Mothman, so they go to this Mothman pizza place and they eat the Mothman pizza. And they're building a story beyond the actual procedure of hunting for the ghost or hunting for the Mothman. And for some reason, and I can't really put my finger on it, for some reason the BuzzFeed Unsolved content felt more fun. The Watcher content feels less fun to me, and that makes the Unsolved content more bingeable and more rewatchable. I don't know what it is about it. I can't really exactly put my finger on it, but it feels like when they moved over to the Watcher, the production value went up, but the passion for the content went down and decreased. Also, some of the formats, for example, mystery files, personally, this is just my personal opinion, but it feels a bit forced, right? The whole thing feels very forced, very rehearsed. It doesn't feed as much of the natural comedic energy that these two guys have and bounce off each other. It feels more scripted and less natural, which ultimately makes it, again, for me, less fun to watch. So I think there are loads of small details, and to be honest, I want to hear your thoughts on this down in the comments. What makes it for you? And maybe you prefer the Watcher. Maybe you say, no, I prefer the Watcher way over BuzzFeed Unsolved. Any opinion is appreciated down in the comments. I'm curious to read them. But I personally catch myself way more often going back to the BuzzFeed content rather than the Watcher content. And now recently, I just have to mention this, BuzzFeed Unsolved has tried to create new content by taking all the Lighthouse episodes and putting those into one video, and all the Haunted House episodes, and just re-uploading old content and trying to gain views with it, which is seemingly not really working. 269,000 views 13 days ago. I really enjoy their marathons. Like I said, I fall asleep to those quite often. I enjoy that content, but people obviously have seen it, right? And then I guess we can't do a video about Shane and Ryan and BuzzFeed versus the Watcher without talking about the recent scandal. About 1 month ago, the Watcher crew was announcing that they're gonna leave YouTube and put their new content exclusively behind the paywall, I believe on thewatcher.com or something like that. And that really spawned a lot of hate. Many fans got extremely angry, saying, you know, we can't afford another subscription service just for this content. As far as I'm aware, Ryan and Shane was kind of trying to justify it by saying, you know, basically we're producing this high quality content. It is comparable to Netflix in terms of the quality. So you should kind of pay a similar price to Netflix, and it's fine for us to put it behind a paywall because of the high quality of the content. But let's be honest, that comparison really falls flat, because obviously Netflix offers like hundreds of different things to watch, while the content on The Watcher is fun and diverse, but it's not as diverse as Netflix. So I think they were asking, don't nail me down on this, but I think they were asking for a $4.99 subscription fee in order to access the content on thewatcher.com. Now, people got so angry that shortly thereafter they wrote back on that decision, coming forward and apologized, saying that their content will now come back to YouTube, but I think a month later. So there will be a month of exclusivity on thewatcher.com, and then it will come back to YouTube. That calmed everything down ever so slightly, but it just goes to show that as a YouTube content creator, you don't really get away that easily with putting your content behind a paywall like that, even you are popular and raking in millions of views as Ryan and Shane do with their ghost hunting content. But nonetheless, I feel looking at the Watcher site right now, and you know, they've been uploading content. There's a video from 3 days ago, 7 days ago, 10 days ago, and so on. Numbers are not that great. Again, this is very new and fresh content. It didn't have like months or years to rake up views, but it feels like interest is fading a little bit, and that decision to initially come out and say, you know what, we're going behind a paywall, left a little bit of a dent in their popularity. That this is just me reading into the numbers of their channel, I don't know, but that's how it feels. And weirdly enough, it revokes a little bit of memories of Rooster Teeth, okay, where loads of bad decisions were made. I mean, Rooster Teeth is a different story. They had like massive scandals that were just off the charts and destroyed the brand ultimately, in my personal opinion. But it feels like here we have bad decisions being made for their business that then also leave a dent on the Watcher now, on this channel and on the popularity of it. But again, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the Watcher is the next Rooster Teeth and we're about to see the downfall of the Watcher. I'm not saying that at all. If Shane and Ryan will keep creating great ghost hunting content, then certainly people will keep watching and it will still be wildly successful. But I think one thing they have to realize is they never really blew up because of their production value or because of the quality of presentation and video content that they had. The reason, in my personal opinion, why they blew up was because of the comedic chemistry between these two characters and the natural evolution and how it was manifesting in those ghost hunting shows. And that comedic chemistry combined with the ridiculous and quite unique approach to ghost hunting content that is quite different from other comparable shows, that's what made them stand out. That's their unique selling point, and that really worked for them and in their favor. And I just hope they keep doing it. I hope they do less videos where they rank their top inedible objects they would eat. You know what I mean? I get it. Shane is probably bored of all that ghost hunting content and thinks it's rather stupid. Again, it's just me interpreting into it. But that's what people want to see. So I secretly hope that they go a little bit back to the roots, less high production values, just get the ghoul boys into creepy locations, focus on the history of the space, tell a story around it, just have fun with it, and give the people what they want to watch. But guys, that's just my opinion, okay? That is how I feel about BuzzFeed Unsolved and The Watcher. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this, okay? If you enjoy the show, if you have thoughts on anything that I just said, then please leave that down in the comment section below. I will certainly read it, and I would really appreciate your input in that. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a conversation going on about BuzzFeed Unsolved and The Watcher. And hopefully, we'll get more great content from the Ghoul Boys in the future. Guys, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to smash the like button, okay? It always helps. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more content in the future. You can also join our Discord. We have a lovely Discord community. It's obviously free to join. I'm hanging out there. The link to that is down in the description, and I would love to meet you over on our Discord. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your time. Have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Bye.